Okay, hi everybody. It is your Virgo bestie, astrologer, tarot reader based out of Gainesville, Florida, Megan Green. I am so happy to be here, to be back with you guys. And it's been a minute since I have done just a purely tarot video. And it does seem like one of your favorite styles of videos to watch on this channel is the celebrity rapid fire tarot spreads. So there have been a few things going on in the pop culture world and the political world that I thought might be fun to pull on. And then also kind of one topic that's a little bit more selfish. It might not be very popular in terms of the algorithm, but it is something that I'm curious about and really is what kind of stirred me to pull today. So we'll get to that. But I just kind of wanted to check in and do something fun and casual. And if you have any suggestions for future celebrity rapid tarot readings, feel free to suggest them in the comments. And I also noticed that another video style that seems to be important is when I break down celebrity charts and synastries. So if there is a situation like that that you would be interested in, let me know as well. Okay, so the topic that I am selfishly the most interested in, which y'all may or may not care about at all, is Clipse winning album of the year in the Grammys. The Grammys are generally held, I think, in February. So, February of 2026, we can probably expect to watch the Grammys. I know that Clipse has been campaigning pretty heavily for album of the year. And I am a huge Clipse fan. I actually saw them recently in Orlando. I have been loving this return to their duo. I certainly love Pusha T's music independently. I respect whatever Malice has done in his solo endeavors as well. But it's been amazing to see them back at it in their prime, at the peak of their, talent, and to be able to witness that in real time has been awesome. But I know, I know the politics of the industry, or I don't know, but I assume. And there are lots of little things that could possibly prevent them from winning something that they rightfully deserve. Like, how many times have we seen, artists get snubbed? Beyonce getting snubbed for Lemonade. Some of the greatest records of our time have been snubbed through Grammys. So I am curious to see if they will win, if they'll even be nominated. And that actually might be the best place to start. Will Clipse be nominated for Album of the Year for Let God Sort 'Em Out? Please make your message abundantly clear. And it's also important to remember that Clipse is intimately interwoven with Pharrell, and he did produce this full album. So it's not just Clipse winning, it is also Pharrell. And Pharrell does seem to have stronger industry ties. So he may be able to, petition for this to happen. They just performed at the Vatican. It seems like they're getting a lot of huge opportunities that may normally not be offered. But let's see, will they be nominated for Album of the Year? Ooh, I didn't even have my, y'all are gonna be stoked when you see this. Let's see. Will they be nominated for Album of the Year? First card, 10 of Pentacles. And I'm using the Tazama African Tarot deck today. It is probably my favorite deck of all time. Beautiful images. Please support this company if you are in the market for a new deck, and especially if you are a person of color who wants to see yourself represented through the cards that you're using. But 10 of Pentacles is our first card. Next, we have the King of Pentacles. Gosh, this is gorgeous. Lastly, we have the Nine of Wands. Okay. So the Ten of Pentacles is about legacy. It is about like your life's work, what you are leaving behind, you know, your reputation, your status, your family. These are brothers. Their album is, you know, largely about their history together. It is also one of the primary songs on the album is Birds Don't Sing, which is about their parents passing away. This is such a stunning card to honor that. This looks very positive in terms of being nominated or being recognized for your work. The next card we have is the King of Pentacles, which again is just kind of standing in that regality. It's like, I've done the work. I deserve this. I'm owed this. I've put in all of the effort. This is quality, you know, material. It's not like I don't deserve this for the product that I've made. And it really is kind of standing in this position of power and authority. It's like they've already claimed it to some extent. Now, this last card is the Nine of Wands, and this is about being kind of self-protective, maybe defensive. They are really, really fighting for this, and they are doing what they need to do to, you know, have the proper defenses. And I think they are also maybe preparing for something to potentially go awry, but I almost feel like I'm hoping that the Nine of Wands in this case will just be them really kind of wanting to defend the, you know, the mantle that they are already kind of claiming or manifesting for themselves. So let's now pull to see if they will win. So it's looking very likely that they will at least be nominated. Will they win? These are men in their late 40s, I believe, or 40s, early 50s, making incredible hip hop music. Like, it's really astonishing. Not that it's being done, but just that it's being recognized in this time. Okay, will they win? Spirit, please make this message abundantly clear. Ooh, Seven of Pentacles. So many pentacles showing up today. Queen of Cups. Page of Cups. And then on the bottom, the Magician. So the Magician is about manifestation. And I literally just said, you know, what they've been manifesting. I want them to win. I really feel like there is a high likelihood that they will be given the respect and attention that they deserve. The Seven of Pentacles, again, is about hard work and the efforts from your labor, waiting for the results of what you have sown, right? Like, we're not reaping them yet. We're waiting for that to come in. So again, it feels like, you know, I've done the work. Now I just have to wait for my crops to produce the bounty that I know I put the effort in for. If they don't win, it will be a major slap in the face. It almost feels like whoever, you know, if they don't win, whoever does win is going to be like a joke. And it's going to be blatantly obvious that, you know, some sort of politics came into play. But I'm still believing that this is a sign that their efforts will be rewarded. The next card is the Queen of Cups. This is emotional, nurturing, caretaking, sweetness. Again, I am thinking of their mother who has passed away and how they've honored her. This feels like an emotional moment for them. But again, one that is, you know, full of ancestral significance and is something much bigger than, you know, just your typical album release. Page of Cups is a message or an invitation or a sweet little offering. Again, emotional sweetness, sentiments. This feels like a really positive sign. And then we conclude with the Magician, which is, again, about manifestation and having all of the tools at your disposal to make what you want happen. So I love this. Oh, let me just go ahead and give my pre-congratulations to Clipse on their Album of the Year nomination and award. If they do not win, it will be blatantly obvious that there's some sort of bullshit politics going on, and they will at least have, the artist and industry behind the scenes respect as though they had one, even if they do not physically receive the award. But I like my odds with these cards for sure. Okay, so next I wanted to pull on, so let's keep it hip hop. Cardi and Nicki have been going at it. It seems like things have cooled. I know a lot of people have already pulled on them. If you watch other tarot videos, I know that I am late to the party. I kind of did that for a reason. I wanted that to play out. I am really personally interested in the upcoming Mercury retrograde that we are going to be having in Sagittarius, because our girl Nicki is a Sag. And we already know that she's, girl's got a lot of information. She's got a lot to say. When we have a Mercury retrograde going through an intimate part of our charts and we're already kind of activated, is a likelihood that those, messages, contracts, mercurial related things may come back to the surface to either be revisited or, reconciled, whatever. But I'm curious to see how that will play out for her. But let's go ahead. I think the way that I want to approach this is I want to pull 3 for Nicki and 3 for Cardi. I do feel like a lot of this is interpersonal between the two of them, but I also feel like a lot of this is just their own personal shit kind of being funneled through the tension in their conflict. But so I think that might be the best way for me to address them. Right. And I'm a fan of both ladies. I would love to see them collab. I would love to see them use their forces for good, not evil. Can you imagine? Oh my God. It would be amazing. Stop pinning women against one another. Okay. 3 for Nicki. 6 of Cups. Star. 3 of Swords. And then 3 for Cardi. Hermit. Knight of Wands. Lovers. Okay. Let's go ahead. Let's start with our girl Nicki. Nicki has the 6 of Cups. The 6 of Cups is oftentimes affiliated with children in the traditional Rider-Waite tarot deck. It's, I think, one of the few cards that actually has children in the card. But it also has to do with nostalgia, memories, things from the past, warm feelings, things like that as well. The next card is the Star card, which is like hope, aspiration, but it also is celebrity and being kind of like in the public eye or noticed, revered. But there is also this kind of like inspirational tint to it as well. Then we have the 3 of Swords, which is about heartbreak, disappointment, loss, regret, pain, etc., etc. So I do feel like Nicki is coming from a place of really being stuck in past pain. With the Star card, perhaps she felt like she was on top at one point, and with the 3 of Swords, she no longer has that, and so that's very painful. Maybe there are reasons for that happening behind the scenes that have been kind of, destructive to her career really continuing to progress to the level that maybe it should have. But it does seem like she maybe is kind of clinging to the past and also to the idealized version of herself, her career, her celebrity, in all of that. Now, I do, again, there's two kids in these cards, so I imagine that her child is playing a very important part of this as well. I know that they've gone back and forth, throwing insults at the kids, which is never cool. But it does seem like she's feeling very protective about that situation and has a lot of pain around that as well. It seems like she's holding on, like with the Three of Swords being about regret, with the Six of Cups being about the past. She's got a lot. Nicki is not living in the here and now. Nicki is still dealing with shit from like before, which is reminding me again about like the Mercury retrograde. Is something going to come up during that time frame that's really going to make some sense of like where all of this energy with her is coming from? Okay. Mercury goes retrograde on November 9th, and it's going to station direct on November 29th. So we want to keep our eyes out on the month of November for our girl Nicki Minaj, because she's still living in the past. She's still working through stuff from the past. She's still living in the past. She's still very activated by the past, and she's not letting that go. It's like a dog with a bone. So that's kind of what I'm feeling for her. Let's go ahead and put her to the side and pull Cardi forward. Cardi has our two major arcana cards. The star is also major arcana for Nicki. So again, that's going to be kind of the focus for her, is like her idealized perception of herself and her career is kind of at the base of this. And then again, her son potentially as well. And then so Cardi has the Hermit, the Knight of Wands, and the Lover's card. So the Hermit is about reflection, introspection, can also be about feeling kind of isolated. I wonder if Cardi's not really feeling the support that she normally feels. Something's going on with her. She is not really feeling, even though she is such a public extroverted person, it seems like maybe behind the scenes she is becoming a lot more introverted and reflective, and really kind of pulling back or pulling inwards. And I think she might have actually been the one to kind of diffuse the back and forth once it kind of reached a certain level. Then we got the Knight of Wands, and that is about like impulsive behavior, reactivity. She was being very impulsive. I think when a lot of that back and forth happened, that makes a lot of sense. The Knight of Wands is often, to me, associated with Sagittarius. Sagittarius, I believe, is the sign of both her past partner, Offset, and her current partner, God, I forgot his name. Whatever, and her current partner. All I remember is that there is this clip going around of all of the guys in the locker room on his team saying that this is the guy they would never want their sister to date. So do with that what you will. But so I believe both of them are Sagittarius, and I often affiliate Sagittarius with the Knight of Wands because it does have this kind of like adventure seeking, recklessness, impulsive, passionate, fiery, in the moment energy, but it's not really thought out. It's not really sustainable. So I'm feeling that from her. I'm also feeling that from the men in her life as well. And I say that because the Lovers is our final card, and that obviously is about partnership and alignment. And I feel like her relationships might be kind of clouding her need for introspection. And really, that just makes total sense why they are bouncing off of one another in such a reactive way. They're both in such fragile and sensitive places. And I think a lot of projection that maybe should be sent towards partners or business decisions or personal things are being funneled and directed at one another instead. And I would love for these girls to get into alignment and maybe choose each other, and getting their mutual bag. Like, can you imagine how profitable a joint track would be? Let's see it, girly. Okay, let's move on to Taylor Swift. I don't really care about her. Actually, do I care? She just had an album release. She's newly engaged to Travis. I know in my last reading that I pulled for them, I told you they were committed. They were going long game, even though The vibes were not really there. It seems like they are mutually committed to the business contract of marriage. And hey, maybe, I mean, essentially that is what marriage in America is. It is a business contract, it's an agreement. So, whatever. But it seems like they're moving forward with that. So, she's released an album that has had a few kind of controversial things with it. People don't really like it. There were a few jabs at Charlie XCX as well. So, I think let me just pull 3 on Taylor's general vibe right now. How is she feeling with all of these life changes and with the potential negative feedback of her album? Hangman. Ooh. High Priestess. 6 of Swords. So the Hangman is suspension. It's surrender. It's also trying to look at things from a different perspective. The High Priestess is truth, inner knowing, inner wisdom, your intuition. And then the 6 of Swords is trying to move ahead to calmer waters. It seems like she may be just kind of taking this all in stride. I don't know that she's gonna push this album in the same way that she did with previous albums, where there was like this huge campaign and, you know, I go on this world tour and blah, 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 blah. I don't think this album is going to receive that same treatment because it does seem like, again, she's got a lot of internal energy here. The Hanged Man is reflective because it has to be. It's stuck. It's just hanging there. So, you know, maybe it's like, well, the album didn't receive the buzz that we thought it was, so it doesn't, you know, that doesn't really force me to go and tour and do all of the things that I would normally do. So it's leaving her kind of in this hanging, you know, moment of suspension. And then the High Priestess is just like going inward and being a lot more reflective and trying to trust herself. And so maybe, you know, she's going to be pulling in a bit more internally. And then I also have the 6 of Swords here, which is about moving ahead to calmer waters. We have a man and a woman and a baby. My next prediction is that a baby comes pretty quickly after the wedding. If we get all the way through a wedding, I think that they are going to be moving into the new branding of mom and dad and nuclear family and, you know, the American dream, and really kind of pushing that on us. So that's it. That's all I want to say about that girl. She's just boring to me. Let's move on to the Kardashians. Some rumblings going on that they might be being looked into by the feds. There are also some rumblings about, I don't know, there's a lot of things going on with them. There's a lot of weirdness going on. They're suspiciously quiet. Normally, they are in the news every single day. We're getting some sort of major update. There's something that they're plugging or trying to get us to buy. And obviously, they're still doing some of that, but it is not at the level that it normally is. And it could possibly just be that, you know, the collective is no longer interested. But I also feel like they don't care about that. They were pushing anyway. It was all a scam anyway. It was all illusion anyway. So it really didn't matter if we were responding. So why now are they kind of pulling back? So I just kind of want to pull on what is going on with the Kardashians and if they are in any sort of legal or financial trouble that might come out within the next few months. Another 6 of Cups. Okay, so the Death card is obviously, you know, death. It can also be rebirth, transformation, something coming to an end. something that needs to kind of come to an end, something that's kind of expired past its time. The Two of Cups is about relationships and connections. And then the Six of Cups, again, is like something from the past, memories, maybe things from the kids. I do think that they're going to be shifting focus to their children as like the next generation, which is why they had them. So no big surprise there. That I think is going to be the transformation. They're really going to be trying to rebrand. I think they're trying to get into new partnerships and dealings. But I also think that this means that past things, past partnerships, past affiliations are going to be creating some issues for them that are going to have to be addressed. Let's go ahead and see if we can get anything deeper. What is this about? Six of Swords, Eight of Wands. Six of Wands is moving ahead. Sometimes it's also about travel. Eight of Wands is rapid developments, movement, activity. The Fool is like a new beginning, but also naivete. I wonder if they were trying to move into a space that they thought that they could take over and realize like, oh, we don't know what we're doing. And that also kind of opened them up to exposure in some way. Huh. Six of Pentacles, there's the money. Queen of Wands, I'm sure that's Kim, or, you know, the sexual feminine energy that whole family kind of embodies. Okay, so the Six of Pentacles is about reciprocity, even give and exchange, you know, payback for things that you are deserved, things like that. Queen of Wands is attraction. It's, you know, a sexy woman, but it can also be kind of like passionate, seductive, and maybe like a little bitchy. And then we have the Lovers, which again is about alignment. It's about connection. It's about choice. I feel like, and that takes me right back to what I said in the beginning, someone that they were previously affiliated with, a partner. Corey Gamble. Corey, is that you? We've got relationship cards twice. I guess it could be Kanye. I guess it could be Travis Barker, but really, yeah, I think we need to watch Corey Gamble. And I also think that there is a link to P. Diddy. Death card is the Scorpio card. Kris Jenner is a Scorpio. Diddy's a Scorpio. It'll be interesting. Okay, last one. I want to pull on the Charlie Kirk conspiracy. A lot of us believe that there, you know, was some sort of government involvement or motive. People are getting weird vibes from the wife. We feel like, you know, there's been a feeling that there is, you know, people being framed. There's a lot going on. So let me go ahead and just pull and see if we can get some general idea of what was going on there and what might be to come. Okay, so what really happened? Who is really behind this? Okay. Queen of Wands. Two of Pentacles. King of Pentacles. I mean, I instantly thought of his wife when I pulled the Queen of Wands, which is weird. I'm not, none of this is true. Don't sue me. I'm just pulling cards and making guesstimations and talking about imaginary people that do not exist. But the Queen of Wands is definitely giving me strong, independent, feminine energy. And like I'm ready to take the reins and to rule. The Two of Pentacles is balancing two different, financial opportunities or values, or weighing two different options. So I do feel like maybe there was some sort of financial offering that was either declined, or maybe they chose to go in a different direction, and that somehow impacted this coming out, or the person, whoever is responsible for this act. And then the King of Pentacles does speak to some sort of well-resourced authoritarian male who was able to fund it and pull it off. So there was cooperation here. And even if you just visually look at this, the Two of Pentacles is in between them. There was cooperation here between some feminine and some masculine authority. Okay, what can we expect next? Like, what will be the next big kind of breakthrough, or, bit of information or stunt, or, public connection that we might be able to expect? King of Wands. Wow, right on top of the Queen. Seven of Swords. Ace of Cups. We've got the partners. King of Wands is a passionate, driven, action-oriented, authoritarian male. The masculine to the Queen of Wands, which we pulled first. The Seven of Swords is about secrets, lies, deception, strategy. And the Ace of Cups is like a new relationship, a new emotional offering. Will the wife team up with another masculine figure, potentially in some sort of new relationship, in some sort of strategic move? I also feel like there is going to be something that really tries to pull on the public's heartstrings that's very strategic. Like, if they start rolling out the kids, or if they start, just doing over-the-top pulls for sympathy, be wary of that. Watch that. Let me go ahead and get a little bit of clarification. If I can get anything deeper. Pulled from the wrong side of the deck. Nine of Swords, stress and anxiety. Five of Pentacles, feeling left out, loss, strain, stress. Five of Swords, conflict, disputes. Money is about to get weird too. Something's going on with the money. If they start doing fundraisers, like, oh, we need your help and support, like, that's crazy, first. But I would not be surprised if we start seeing GoFundMes, fundraisers being highlighted or presented in a bigger way. Or if they're trying to, like, tug at your heartstrings, but also kind of get your resources through some sort of sob story. There's a lot behind the scenes. I think people are bugging. And I don't mean just because of the passing and then having to deal with, all of the effects of that. Swords are like mental cards, conversations, thoughts, interactions that are cerebral or intellectual information. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that they are stressed about. They got 99 problems and the actual death ain't one. Financially, there's something going on here where there is some sort of lack or some sort of perception of lack that they're really going to be trying to push off, and there's going to be some sort of conflict of interest, and we might not even see this layer of what's going on, but behind the scenes it does seem like there is quite a bit of conflict and quite a bit of like, oh shit, we did it, now what? Like that's the feeling that I'm getting. Like, what the fuck now? All right, y'all, that's all I got. If there are other topics that you'd love me to pull on, go ahead and drop them in the comment section. I hope you've been checking out the Your Big Threes every week, getting the transits and the card breakdown of what to expect for the week ahead. I'm hanging in there, and I am really going to be trying to nurture this space. So please feel free to join me, partake, participate. I love sharing this with you all. So hope you're doing well. Let's see if any of this comes to fruition.